All right, welcome to The Downside with Gianmarco Soresi. I'm here with my co-host, Russell Daniels. You okay?
Yeah.
A little loud for you?
I think my level is too loud. It feels like you're screaming
Okay,
in my
well,
face.
we're using this take. Ahri Findling is our guest today, stand-up comedian. Ahri Findling, thank you for joining The Downside.
Thank you for having me. My level's perfect.
Oh, good.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
Who is hot?
Woo!
Hot
Nelly.
day. We are recording this a little bit early, but I'm sure it's still hot when this comes out. This is the day before JFK is about to do a parade in Texas, and we're gonna go to that and see how it goes. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for being here, Ari. We'll get to you in a second. I'm having a tough.
What?
This is gonna.
What's wrong?
So it was Tova's birthday, my
Yeah.
girlfriend's birthday, this last Sunday, and there was things with I took a spot I shouldn't have taken during a time frame I shouldn't have taken it, which I'm sure I can talk to Ari about.
You took it on her birthday.
It's more complicated than that.
No, was it on the date of her birthday?
It was. I thought an arrangement had changed where another part of the time I was supposed to keep open, and I was okay to do a spot the other time, and all the funds from this show went to a very nice dinner and a very nice breakfast, but
Did you let her know that?
well, so I'm shut up. Listen.
Okay, I
What?
know. I that's just so funny that you. What time of the show did you think would be okay to do? In the prime time of hanging out, going to dinner, that sort of thing.
I want to.
Did you have like a morning show?
I want to be careful because this is unfair. Tova doesn't really get to share her.
Oh no, I'm not. I would. There's no scenario where I'm not taking Tova's side. So
I'm actually doing her podcast after this. So.
Yes.
yeah.
It was like, there would be an event the night before. And originally I was going to take the birthday off, but then the night before, Saturday night, that became something important. So it was like, okay, you can take a gig on Sunday. And so I took we see there we go. Oh, there's my
Gianmarco.
foolish.
You
That was
thought
not
that-
a
you
real
thought
offer.
that- You
Yeah, you
thought the
gotta
big
know.
friends
Yeah,
thing
it's a
that
friends
she
thing.
arranged was going to be adequate for you to take off?
I was given permission. Here's the thing. I was given permission to take a spot. I think it was a
On Saturday.
No. I was supposed to be there for Saturday, and then Sunday, which was the actual birthday day, I could take. She said I could do a spot if it came up.
Okay.
I took a midday spot. I thought, it's like in the park. It was like some New York Laughs event at 2 p.m. But in fact, that was even worse because she wanted the day together.
See, I'm actually on your side here, and I didn't think I would be.
Great.
Yeah. No, come on. I mean, we can't block off the whole day. 2 days, really?
2 days. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you
crazy.
very
Okay,
much.
I'm gonna. Here's the thing. I'm not a stand-up, so I can see what you're saying. I can see how you maybe thought there'd be an hour where that's okay, and it does feel better that it's in the afternoon and not in the evening.
But that's where I was wrong. The
But
evening would have been better.
That seems.
That's where I was incorrect.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, no, okay. One thing going against the evening is it is a Sunday night, so maybe you're less inclined because Monday work. I don't know. I think I feel like I have to take Tova's side because I don't want three of us not taking her side.
And
and
I
I
take
do
Tova's
think
side
you should
too.
just take
It's
it
Ari
off.
versus everyone else right now. I take Tova's side. She went to the show. It was in the park, and I got the whole group of 80-year-olds. I was hosting to say happy birthday,
Oh,
Tova.
you were hosting?
And that made up for everything.
Oh, Gianmarco.
Hosting.
Hosting.
I mean, that's like
it
almost as
wasn't
bad
a
as
quick
doing a
gig.
check spot on her birthday. Kidding.
So
kidding.
I was I'm trying to get her like a gift, and it's very hard. She's an excellent gift giver, but people kept giving her things that she thought I had given her. So like we have this joke. I have this big head of my face, and she puts it in her window, and so someone sent her a big head of her face, and she thought I must have gotten it because what a smart, cute gift for me to get her the thing that we always joke about all the time. So she called me. She'd be like, I think I opened your birthday gift. And then she was so like, and I was like, for a second I thought, I'm going to claim it's me. I'm going to claim that I did send this, in fact, but no, it was a friend of hers. And then she always thinks she believes some spirit is always leaving dimes for her.
Dimes?
Dimes. And so she kept finding dimes, and she texted me, she's like, did you leave a dime? She kept thinking like I was like playing a long game with dimes. So I kept having to refute her that no, I am not thinking of you or giving things to you.
Also, if
Gianmarco,
if you
the dimes one, no one would have been trying to claim that. You could have easily said that one was you.
Yeah, it's also like that's her level of what you're gonna give her is a big head of her face and dimes.
You,
on the ground?
Gianmarco, my sweet boy. You leaving dimes around the house for me? Oh.
So then I decide she dated a guy once who gave her jewelry that had coordinates of where they met. And I always joke about how I'm not the romantic guy. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll do
nickels.
So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll get her jewelry with, it's going to come out after I give this to her, so it's okay. I'll give her jewelry with coordinates on it. But I wanted to make it jokey. We have a jokey relationship. So I decided in the moment that I would do the coordinates. She always joked that she saw me record my stand-up comedy special, Shelf Life, available on Amazon and Spotify. And she said that she went there before we were dating. She wanted to lose her crush on me. She wanted to see me do stand-up, and hopefully I would be bad enough that she'd go, ugh, I don't want to touch that. What's the Jewish for penis?
Schwanz?
Yeah, Schwanz. I don't want to touch the Schwanz.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Jewish names for penis, but Schwanz is one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And she saw me, and then, the rest is history.
She should have gone on the show I saw.
So she went to the second taping this week.
Yeah.
So she so I was like, I know, I'll get the coordinates of where she first saw me do stand-up comedy. That's a funny gift. That's a funny
You're
gift.
cruising for a bruising, buddy.
So
he really is.
So I get it. I think it's funny. I run it by a friend of hers, a close friend. She thinks it's funny too. And then the day of, then we have, this talk about stand-up comedy and our relationship and time. And I was like, this is looking like an increasingly bad joke to make for the birthday gift.
Yeah.
So day of, I'm like, oh, I should do the coordinates of where we always meet on the corner between our two apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so mid-birthday, I'm like, hey, so you're not getting your gift today. And I cannot get a refund. It's not the most expensive thing in the world, but it's something.
Yeah.
And I'm just literally going to buy a new one and give it to her.
What are you going to do with the old one?
Yeah, what's the old one?
I really don't know.
Throw it out. Yeah, no, I know.
Does she
If
listen?
anyone
She doesn't
listening-
listen to this podcast.
I think she does.
Okay.
She listens.
So she's going to know
But
that.
no, this is going to come out after I've given it to her.
Got it, got
But
it,
she's
got
going to know.
She'll
This
know
is my
there's
way
one
of
that
letting
you
her know
bought
that I
that's
got her two gifts, kind of.
trash.
That, well, if anyone wants it, if anyone saw Shelf Life, maybe this is a really big memorabilia. But here's what's worse. So the coordinates, there were only so many coordinates that fit on this piece of jewelry. And I was like, oh, we'll just round up.
It's not even accurate.
We'll just round up.
Oh my God.
So I looked up, I as I was figuring out the new piece of jewelry and checking the new coordinates and making sure everything's right, I look up the coordinates that I had done. And with the rounding up, it's somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. So it is not even Shelf Life where I recorded it. It's not the corner we lived in. It is just a place in the middle of the water.
Can I give you a piece of advice?
And that's where
Let me
she's
get
gonna-
from. Listen, I've been in a relationship a long time. I'm married. I got a kid. I'll give you a piece of advice. When you are buying somebody a gift, and you're at the point where you are looking up coordinates, it's the wrong gift.
Also, this is a stolen idea from an ex.
No, but the idea,
I know it's
the
an
point
inside
is she
joke.
doesn't
It's
think
an
I'm
inside joke.
romantic.
It's an
She
inside
doesn't
joke.
think I'm romantic.
Yes.
And I am not. I don't believe romance is for people who cheat. I'm not a romantic.
Interesting.
Well, of course,
I understand the logic.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm saying a lot of the men who do a lot of the things, I think they're either covering up their tracks or
virtue
they're-
signaling.
Or it's virtue signaling, relationship virtue signaling. I like that. Or maybe they are so moved. Maybe they are so romantic. You know what happens with the romantic impulses when they're alone in an elevator with someone else they find hot? They have sex and they cheat. Anyone who's a romantic,
I don't know about that.
would you consider yourself romantic?
I think Times, but I feel like whenever I feel it comes from a genuine thing. It's not all the time for sure, but I feel like I've had genuine impulses to like do a nice gesture. To
What's the
be
most
like,
romantic thing you've done for Nicole?
oh, I don't know. Put on the spot. I don't know.
What do you mean? You write a poem?
No,
write a sketch
God,
for
no.
her?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
What's
no.
the most romantic thing you've done for your wife?
I get a couple surprise parties with like her friends that she didn't expect. I
See,
brought
but that's
people
not
in.
romance to me. Romance to me is like something about like this is what you mean to me or your beauty.
Okay,
or
I'll
your-
tell you the
Oh,
most
but
romantic.
okay.
But see, that's
you have a different definition of
100%.
romance. Then.
Oh, I don't
All
think
right.
that's romantic. I think I can do the parties.
I think
can
like
do the things.
thoughtful, like for instance, when Nicole came into town Sunday night, she got in late. I had like made a big, nice dinner, like cultivated a favorite cocktail, so like did a thing, like so.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
When she came home, everything for the week. I bought all the groceries for the week. I did the like lunch. Everything was like ready. Like in a way of like things are going to be easy for you the next few days.
Yes.
You were traveling, and I prepared this
I think
really
it's very
nice
sweet.
meal thing. So I feel like that's a romantic thing, even though it's just being a decent human being. But
Yes.
I think you're thinking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Tell me
limited
if
way.
this is romantic. If you define this as romantic, I would define this as romantic. Okay, first weekend away with my wife when she was my girlfriend, we go up to Woodstock. We get a hotel room. We go to like a dive pizza place. Great. We get stoned. I get way too stoned and think the FBI is outside the hotel room.
Good.
It was bad. We get engaged in my apartment. I proposed to her, and then I rented a car, and I didn't tell her where we were going, and we went back up to Woodstock. I got the same hotel room that we are in. We ate at the same pizza
yes.
place.
You
Surprised her,
got
didn't
just
you?
as
Very,
high. You thought the
very-
FBI
Just
was
as high.
still.
This time on crack.
I think our things are so similar. When I proposed, I did our very first date where we had our first kiss. I like recreated the first part of the night and then threw like a surprise party for our friends.
You read the same
Like,
blog that I
same
did.
Thing.
So
Yeah, yeah.
if I got the same audience for the same
Yes,
comedy
yes,
special
yes,
and
yes,
perform
yes.
the exact same set.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
exactly
yes.
what we're saying. Totally.
17 years from now,
Well,
when
welcome
you're
everyone.
ready to propose.
This is the downside. If you're new and you somehow made it this far, great.
Oh.
This is a show where we break down the things in society that romance. We say no.
We say
What's
yes.
underneath here? We find the negatives. We celebrate. There seems to be a lot of Jews that we interview, including today. There's a Jewish underbelly to this podcast. I don't know if I should use that term, underbelly. It sounds like-
No.
There's a Jewish
Not with me on it.
lining, a beautiful silver lining. This is a podcast for people who love to complain, and I'm so happy. I love doing this podcast, and I hope you're digging it. Just so you know, we have videos. I think we're going to start releasing full videos of every episode on YouTube. Just look up my name, Gianmarco Soresi, and even better, if you really love the show, join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. And you get 2 bonus episodes a month with video of all that. You get special little goodies. It's a good time. I need help. I need to pay producers to help and someday pay Russell so he can do more romantic gifts than prepare the drink she
No,
likes.
It
okay.
sounded like he just cleaned the apartment.
No.
right?
No. Okay, it was more than that. I felt like I really, it was like a 4-course meal. It was a thing with different drinks with each pairing. You know, it was a real
there was
thing.
coleslaw. That was
No.
number 1. There was
I got
a pickle.
ketchup,
Yeah.
but not just the regular ketchup. I got the mayo chip.
Yeah.
I think we went to a nice breakfast. We went to a nice dinner. I have work to do. I come from 2 loveless households. I did not have many role models in terms of loving gestures, and I think I did an okay job. First birthday out, and the sky is the limit, or
We'll see.
we won't make it to number 2. So we'll see. Ari,
What a pivot.
I'm so happy to have you. I've been
Me
wanting
too.
to have you. You are a stand-up comedian, and you make very funny videos and TikToks, and you write.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
about to be the writer of a network show before COVID hit. Are we
Before
allowed to
COVID.
speak about that?
Of course, yeah.
You right before COVID hit. What did you have?
I was writing on a show on E, a late night show on E that got picked up for 14 episodes, and we were ready to go. We shot 1 episode. We were about to shoot the 2nd episode, and COVID hit. We started writing from home for like 3 weeks, and then they were like, fuck it.
Oh.
and we just got shit canned.
So in a way, COVID affected you the worst.
The worst, more than anybody else, more than Tom Hanks, more than somebody's grandmother. Your grandmother, right? No, somebody's grandmother. Oh, Eitan's grandmother.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're just bringing up other people's dead grandmas.
Listen.
This could be a long.
Listen.
Let me get that New York Times article of everyone listed.
Sure,
It's a brutal
yeah.
list.
It's like 9/11. Let's just read the names out for 3 hours.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay.
I mean, that must have sucked.
It sucked. It was it was horrible. I mean, when you're, not that it was my first thing, but it felt like, the first like bigger thing that I'd gotten. And it's just like, what are the fucking odds? Like, I would have no problem if they would have canceled us because we fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. That would have been great. I would have been like, fuck the network. We're fucking better, whatever. But this is like a freak once in a billion cancellation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like the first fucking thing, and it sucked. And like coming out of like the 6 months prior, like I had my kid, I got dropped from my manager
I'm so sorry.
2 weeks after having my kid.
Oh, wait, did the manager know about the kid?
Of course.
Oh, what'd they say? Did they?
Monstrous.
I mean, they can't say that was it.
No, I think, listen, when a comedian has a kid, more often than not, it's bad news for the comedy career. Because
Really?
I think that's people's perceptions of people having kids.
I also feel like there's the opposite of like, oh, this comedian's needs to make it happen now.
I mean, that's kind of what happened to me. I kicked my ass in gear. It was great. It was the best thing that ever happened to me comedically.
Yeah.
But no, she was like, we want different things. Like at that time I hadn't even gotten the writing job yet. I was making all my money from like road dates and stand up and that kind of stuff. And she just didn't care about stand up really. And
It's not a lot of money in it.
No, you have to be, there's like 8 people that make serious money, like fuck you money in stand up in the world.
Yeah. It's very tough. It's like I have a stand-up agent person, but like there's like a level of gig that I'd love to do. I'd love to headline Bumblefucks in New Jersey, and they're like,
Bumblefucks is good.
We don't know who runs Bumblefucks because our commission would be $20.
Right.
So that's very scary.
Yeah.
2 weeks is really rough.
Yeah. I hadn't
Did you
even
bring
like,
the baby to her and say,
No, it
Look
was
at
over
this
the phone.
baby.
I mean, listen, we were friends. Like I honestly don't have that much animosity because we were not right for each other.
sure.
And when you like it's kind of like when you start dating somebody. My biggest attraction to a woman when I was in my late teens, early 20s was that she was attracted to me. That was it. She could have been a horrible person, looked like Adolf Hitler, and as long as she was into me, I would have been like, well, I'll try it out. And that's like what it was with with representation. If they liked me, I was like, okay, I'll go with them until I have a better option. And it just wasn't working out. So it was like it was shitty in the moment, but then it was like, this is the right decision.
Now, when you had this kid,
Yeah,
were you scared as a stand-up comedian? I mean,
horrific.
what does your wife do?
She's a career advisor at a college, at a university.
Good job.
Good, but not a high paying.
I see. And did she advise you on your career?
So she hired me. She was the recruiter at a company that I used to work for. She hired me for the job that I took. That was how we met. And there were times where, like, in our relationship, she would, like, be mad about how much money I made. And I'm like, motherfucker, you negotiated against me. What the fuck are you talking about? You're happy? I'm like, and I was making decent money. And she's like, well, it'd be nice if you could make more money. I'm like, you told me I shouldn't when you hired me.
So wait, what was the job that you had?
I used to work for Modell Sporting Goods
Okay.
at their office.
I've shopped there many times.
Yeah, not anymore. They're all burnt down.
Are they all gone? Did
Yeah,
it
they're all
go
gone.
completely?
Yeah, went belly up.
Oh, fuck.
So I got fired. From that. I'm skipping around. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's fine. What was your job at Modell's?
I was a buyer.
You were a buyer, so you bought like bulk shorts.
I did all the license stuff.
Okay.
So I did all the license stuff for 8 years. Then in 2018, comedy was going pretty good. And I'm like, I'm going to quit this job. I don't want to fucking do it anymore. And they're like, don't quit. And I'm like, I don't want to work here.
You're like, you're a tough negotiator. Fine.
And they're like, please don't quit. We need you. I'm like, it has nothing to do with you guys. Like, I don't want to work this job anymore. It's not just you. Like, I don't want to be in this industry. And they're like, is there any way you can stay? I go, okay, how about this? I'll work 3 days a week. And they're like, I don't know if that's going to work. I'm like, cut my salary in half. I'll work 3 days a week. And they're like, okay, fine. So I did that for 2 years. I worked 3 days a week, 2 years. It was great. I took as much road work as I wanted. It was fucking freeing. And then in February, they were going out of business. I get fired. I have a Fawn can attest to this because I got fired
Fawn Sullivan, our producer.
I fired the morning of one of her shows. I went on stage, had a like full breakdown, but like a super funny breakdown.
Yeah, you're good at that.
So that was like on a Wednesday. Thursday, I go to Wisconsin, and on my flight to Wisconsin, I get a call from Nikki, and hired me on that show.
Nikki
2 days
Glaser,
later,
who was the writer of the E! Show.
Yeah,
the star of the E! Show.
2 days later, crazy turn of events.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were fired that recently?
I was fired from what? Models?
Yeah.
February 2020.
Wow.
And
my God, what a...
Wow. And then you're like, okay, it's fine. I have this show.
And then like I was like, okay, I was going to give 2 weeks, and then 2 days later I get this other job, and I couldn't even, because I had to start the writing room. So I didn't even stay the 2 weeks. I stayed like 2 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Are you scared? You have this daughter. How's your daughter now?
She's going to be 2 in September.
2 in September. Like, is it a scary thing to you? Like,
comedically,
in terms of like,
or as a father?
I think
I'll give you both.
I think as stand-up comedy like has these huge ups and downs.
Yeah.
And like I only think of it in terms of myself.
Sure.
And like if I have to reduce my meals so they're very basic, like I can do that. I can make them boring. I can strap in the belt.
Yeah.
But with a kid, and
It's harder. So I think this is what convinced me to have a kid. At every point in my life with comedy, I had these fears of, is X, Y, or Z going to affect my comedy? So when I was single, I was like, okay, if I get into a relationship, it's going to fuck with comedy. That never happened. I got into a relationship, there was no issue. Then I was like, okay, well, if I move in with her, that's really going to fuck up my comedy. Didn't happen. If I get engaged, didn't happen. Married, didn't happen. So I'm like, every time I've been scared of it's going to affect comedy, it's never come to fruition. So I'm like, whatever, fuck it. It was a huge leap of faith. I mean, it's still fucking scary.
It sounds like you're doing well at the casino, and we're like, all right, leave,
push my luck.
You're doing so well. And then you're like, no, put
I'm
it
on a
all
heater.
on red.
Yeah.
Put it all on baby.
Put it all on baby, yeah. And but it's fucking hard. I mean, it is exhausting. It's fucking tough. I can't even imagine being a woman, like in general being a woman, but being a mother and trying to be a comedian is an impossible task. Any comedian who is a mother deserves an HBO special every year and the Congressional Medal of Freedom. I mean, it's insane how fucking hard it is on them.
You see those? There's some comedian she'd wear her baby on stage.
Really?
Yeah, she'd like put like the
Bjorn.
Like a real one though.
Yeah, no, it's real. That was like
No,
that's
it's
a weird
fake
prop
baby,
act.
Just like a bit.
Just a fake baby. Being a mother's tough.
Yeah.
Well, you had the baby with lots of time quarantining. Do you think that was nice that you like stand up was over, so you got to like that? It seems like that first year. I don't know what's the toughest. I just saw my friend Lindsay and their kid is like 2.
Yeah.
And the energy and this kid was moving in a way where I'm like, you're gonna die. Every time he was jumping and climbing, and I was like, you don't understand your mortality. And there's corners everywhere.
They don't care.
The world is filled with corners.
They have no inhibitions. They are just like, my daughter will just, if she were standing on the couch, she would just jump off face plant into the ground and not think anything wrong of it. All the time.
I did the word like playing with this kid, and like he just wanted me to chase him for a
long time.
A very long time, back and forth this one hallway.
Yeah.
And at some point, I like pull his feet and like rookie move, like I pull his feet while he's like on the ground, and his head smacks back into the floor, and I'm like, oh no,
the worst noise, right? The worst noise.
With thud.
That like dink. It's fucking.
And he was like traumatized. He was like, mommy, and I was like, oh no, they're gonna be mad at me. They didn't give a shit.
No, I mean, when they're so young, you're scared. You don't know what to do. But then once your kid like bangs the shit out of their head like 10 or 15 times, you're like, it doesn't fucking matter. That kids' heads are so hard. Nobody talks about that. How hard kids' heads are. You could bang it off of a fucking bus.
I think it'd be sketchy if you brought it up at a party. Do you guys know how hard a kid's head is?
Watch
I've been
this.
dropping them. Watch this. So, all right, where were you born?
Jersey. Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Richwood, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And any downsides to growing up in Richwood, New Jersey?
I didn't grow up in Ridgewood. I grew up in Fairlawn, New Jersey, which is the next town over. And I fucking hated it growing up.
Why?
Because I had no friends.
Why do you think that is?
Because multiple reasons. One, I was made fun of mercilessly.
Mercilessly.
Mercilessly?
Not mercifully.
What about mercilessly? That's not even a word?
That's even longer than mercilessly.
I mean, I know it's longer, but is it the contextual right word?
Mercifully?
Mercifully.
No, that's not a word.
Mercilessly.
Yes, mercilessly.
Mercilessly.
Cut that.
It doesn't sound like a real word anymore.
Right? It sounds like supercalifragilistic.
Who are you made fun of? Were there Jews there?
There were Jews, but most of my friends were not Jewish. I had like Jewish Hebrew school friends like growing up, but once I got to like middle school, I was hanging out with I was in the cool crew. But then I had a huge falling out.
What happened?
I got this is a long story, so I'll make it as short as possible. I know I know we're on a 6-hour podcast, but but it's like I'm not gonna give you the whole thing, okay?
Okay.
So I go to this. I go to a sleepover. Okay, my friends and I back as we probably all did when we were in middle school. You make little sketches, you film stuff, dumb videos.
I'm so nervous right now.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, so we used to have this reoccurring sketch that we would film and show nobody, but we would just film them. Called it was like a talk show, like a Jerry Springer type talk show.
Mm-hmm.
So they. I'm like a panelist on this talk show. They bring me out. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they all start duct taping me to this chair, like I was like a terrorist being waterboarded. And out of nowhere, I had no idea. And then you relax. I'm fine.
I'm stressed.
I know, but you
like
guys
when
are
you see
both
someone-
looking at me like I pulled my dick out. Like. It's fine.
We're looking at you like, put the duct tape away. Don't do that bit.
Don't do that bit, please.
Don't do that
Please
bit.
don't do that bit. Please don't do that bit. So they're like, all of my best friends are like duct taping me, and it's not like
Fun.
Are
No,
you yelling stop?
screaming
Oh,
God.
my. Okay.
So finally, from all of my screaming, I wake up his mother and I like run home. Like I lived a couple blocks away. I like run home.
Did she cut you out or like how did you
Yeah,
stay?
they like
How old exactly? Middle school?
12, 13,
Okay,
somewhere in that.
yeah.
8th grade. And apparently what the plan was, it was January. They were going to not waterboard me, but pour water on me and then push me outside and leave me outside.
What
What was
Right.
the temperature?
fuck?
I don't know.
January, so cold.
Freezing. Yeah. So, and they filmed the whole thing.
Why?
Kids are fucked up. I don't know. So
They filmed. So the mom comes down. She grabs scissors, or there's enough room to rip it off of you.
I mean, I don't remember the exact
think
tension on the tape,
It
but
was a traumatizing event.
of course,
So,
yeah.
so you said you escaped.
Ran home.
Escaped.
You ran home.
Yeah, I went
was the
home.
mom yelling at these kids? Like, is she like, what the
No.
fuck is wrong with
Did
you?
you tell your parents? Did
I told my parents like maybe later the next day, maybe like 5 o'clock the next day, because I was just like, was like, what just fucking happened?
Yeah.
These are my best friends. Like, where did that come from? And they like, imagine going to school the next Monday. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like fucked beyond repair.
And were you guys like prankstery friends, or was this a
Not
strange
like
move?
that. It was
Like a
big leap.
jackass type.
It was like if like, okay, let's make a video of everybody ball tapping people, and then the next video is Johnny Knoxville kills Bam Margera's father. Like it was just like a big leap in
Yeah.
logic. Okay, so going to school the next Monday was like fucking hard. So they like I was made fun of like for that from that 8th grade until like junior year of high school. Like the
Made
next
fun
4
of for
years.
just like being a little bitch about it.
Yeah, like, oh, you're the kid that got tied up. There was also this scurrilous rumor. Okay, when I was in 5th grade. Is this even what this podcast is about? How do we get into
this is
all
this?
the downsides
Okay.
of your
This is
childhood.
great.
Wait, so this is pre the duct tape.
Pre the
duct
duct
tape.
tape. Okay, 5th grade. I have a hernia. Okay, hernia in my belly button. You've heard me tell jokes
I got
about
that
this.
from deadlift.
Yeah, and then,
Paraumbilical hernia.
and then I had a hernia in my crotch. Okay, so when you have a hernia, like a lower abdominal hernia, your small intestines goes into your scrotum. Okay, and it basically looks like you have one gigantic soccer ball sized scrotum. Okay. So I'm telling this story to my friends in like the 6th grade, and I used the phrase like it looked like I had one testicle. Okay. Huge rumor, telephone game goes around middle school. Ari has one testicle. Okay. Going all over the place. Now, if you had spread a rumor amongst the comedy community that said Ari have one testicle, I would just pull my dick out anytime somebody said it and be like, I will show you 2 testicles. But
I would ask first. Can I prove this rumor false right now?
I would like everybody to sign a contract that I can prove Gianmarco's rumor false.
That was the thing. Everyone kept saying Louis had one testicle in the chest.
Yeah, that was his
like,
defense.
let me show you.
And I'm just awkwardly defending him. No, obviously I wouldn't pull my dick out.
Wait,
but
just so I know, because it went into your scrotum, it did look like there was not a division between the 2 balls. It was just like a.
Well, if you look, listen,
If one's giant,
there are points. I don't know what your scrotum looks like. I don't want to
All right,
find
I'll
out.
just pull it out right now.
I have not signed the contract yet. But there are points in the life of your scrotum where it doesn't look like 2 segmented testicles. I don't know if maybe you have a very saggy sack or something, but
I do think I have bigger balls than most, but go ahead.
okay. So there was this rumor going around. In addition to that, I did not go through puberty until I was 18 years old. So there's 18. College, freshman year of college. I graduated high school, or I started senior year of high school. I was 5'3". My freshman year of college, I was 6'1".
Oh my
Crazy growth spurt.
Can I just
what? Yeah.
you weren't jerking off in high school?
I was,
But you pre-puberty?
of
I
course.
thought you had to go through puberty before you could like come and whatnot.
You talking about the actual liquid?
What would happen? You just jerk it and
You'd
decide when you were done?
You never jerked off.
All right,
Okay.
enough of that.
No, there was a time period.
You can jerk off prior to actual
Yeah.
semen coming out of your penis.
Yeah.
Can you get hard before you go through puberty?
Of course,
Yes.
a baby can get hard. Some babies are born with hard dicks. I have no
This
factual
baby-
evidence.
this-
I have no factual evidence.
This
to back
baby is
that up.
stuck. What's going on?
all the time.
This baby is stuck right now. He's got.
Oh, is he
Baby,
breached?
think
Is
of your
it-
grandma dying. We got to get you out of here now.
Oh, is a cord wrapped around his neck? No, he's got a
no,
raging
no.
boner. So like I couldn't.
It's his head. No, wrong head.
No.
I couldn't refute the rumor. That was like the issue. My whole middle school and high school, I could never refute.
And it bothered you.
Of course.
Would it not bother
Of
him in middle
course.
school, high school?
Sure, it's just so straight. Like just the fact that you had genitals could have been embarrassing enough. I mean, like it's like,
Yeah.
it's all embarrassing.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, when did you go through puberty?
I think I went through. I definitely by 7th or 8th grade there were hairs down there.
I mean, I imagine you were that weird mustache kid, right? Like, don't you see him like
that's not
being
fair
in
at
like
all.
7th grade and
yeah.
just having like a just
little
a thick
mustache.
mustache, and people were just like, "Why is he gonna shave it?"
No, I think I went through. Now I don't even know what to define puberty as. For me, it was always like pubic hair was like the thing.
Okay.
I remember seeing a boy in gym class had the biggest bush in 6th grade, and I was like, "What is going on?" Like that was like way far from what was happening for me at the time.
There were definitely some.
And
that
I was
first
like,
bush,
it was big bush, like
Oh, yeah.
and I had never seen that before, so it was very alarming. I remember.
You know how there's kids? You ever run to kids where they would have like they'd grow one strand of hair in the back of their head that they never cut, and like so
Rat tail.
there was some but there was some hair at the end that like essentially was their first hair, like their baby hair. Like that would just be fun for pubes, just one strand.
Just
You're
to
like,
grow
this
your
is-
pubes out.
Just one though.
But I think with pubes, they only grow to a certain level. Like the hair follicles are not like your hair where it would grow forever.
I've always been curious about that. I mean, I trim it. very sloppily.
I
Just-
mean,
just a general,
judging
like-
by what I'm seeing right now, I can't even imagine what your pubic hair looks like.
I just remember that the first time where you just take a pair of scissors and you're like, all right, I'll just trim it like this.
With scissors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I have a what is it?
A buzzer.
A buzzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buzzer,
That's the
yeah.
only way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. But I remember the scissor cut.
Oh,
It looked like my dick was going through chemo or something. It looked like a really
just loose, vague
just
hairs.
loose.
Yeah.
So people thought you had one testicle, but you're still part of the cool kids.
Yeah.
And then like, do
Then
you
this
think?
And then
event
this
happened.
horrifying.
Do you think
event.
this prank was like they resent like you were the kid they didn't like, or was it just a crazy thing that happened?
I think that part of it is a crazy thing that happened. I will admit that there's probably some thing like I could dish it out, but I couldn't take it. But I do think that kids don't really understand that.
Dishing out like
principle.
mean insults, or like were you duct taping kids too?
No,
Then the
never,
moment they did to you,
never.
you're like,
I was
hey,
never.
hey.
No, but I would bust balls. But kids don't really understand the nuance of busting balls. Like it would be like, hey, you have a weird haircut, and then you'll be like, well, your mother's a fucking or something like that. Right? Like they don't understand.
Is that?
Can you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that word. Can you say that word? I don't think so. Can you bleep it?
Yeah, fucking A. You know how much
A lot
you know
of
what
work,
a pain in the
a
fucking ass it is to
lot of
edit.
work.
I said a
Do me
word
a
I
favor,
shouldn't
try
say.
some
saying no
in
more
some ways-
slurs for
in
the rest
some-
of the podcast recording. That'd be great.
In some ways, it's probably going to sound worse than it was.
Can you please bleep it?
I will bleep it out.
Okay.
I will
He'll
bleep it
bleep
out
it. He'll
on the
bleep it.
audio and the video and the fucking everything. I will bleep it out.
No, there is that scene in Pen 15 just like that, where
Yeah.
like they're doing the fight, and then she's just like, "Your dad's dead," and it's like that thing where kids
Oh,
don't
yes, and
understand
he
how to
starts-
like fight and be mean, because then it's so mean.
Well, that sounds very horrible. Have you ever asked them about this?
I'm now friends with one of them again. After all these years.
Is that how you
Do you-
found
have
out
you
that
talked
the
about
second part about the water thing? Like, how did you find out about that?
I found that out like pretty soon after. I mean, they were watching the video for like years after.
My God.
Like
Oh,
horrible.
my
Like I
God.
didn't go to my 10-year reunion because I wasn't emotionally ready to see some of these kids.
Really? It fucked you up that bad?
Oh yeah,
10
I mean
years
it's still
after.
to this day. Like it's not like an active fuck up thing that happened. But
You
like,
don't hear the sound of taping on roll your...
no, but I would say in all of my friendships now, I unfortunately put trapdoors into all of my friendships so that I can get out whenever
Yeah.
I feel like the walls are closing in on me, which is not a healthy thing in friendships.
Well, it sounds like you really have like a post-traumatic stress
So,
disorder from
of
this
course.
event.
So the
100%.
So the friend that you have reconnected with,
Yeah,
have you guys talked about?
of course, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like talking about the incidents don't bother me at all. I mean, I'm at perfect peace with. But we joke about it all the time. Like anytime like we're in the same room and he sees like a thing of duct tape, he'll give me like a should we maybe you get in the chair for old time's sake?
and you
But
start crying.
I
and
start
he's-
crying. Yeah,
Where is this video?
I don't know. It's out. It's probably
Would
there.
you want to see it?
The only reason I want to see it is because, sometimes when, not necessarily a traumatic event, but when any historical memory in your brain, it's not 100% accurate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to see it just to see if there's things that I've altered. Like there's a 2% of me that is like, did this even happen? Did it even happen? Like, like obviously it happened, but like there's a part of me that's like, maybe I've fucking created this entire beautiful mind world in my head that doesn't really exist.
Well, they made
It's just
fun of
like
you for
it's
it
just
for-
like 3
No, I
hours
know
of him
it.
calling them slurs,
Yeah.
and then like they're like,
I didn't say a slur. I didn't say a slur. Stop referencing that I said a slur. If he's gonna bleep it.
He didn't.
He didn't say slur.
He didn't
He
say
said
slur.
a word that's on the line of like, is this okay if we're
It's
quoting
totally
an
okay.
imaginary figure? Look, that's that. I want to see it so badly. It feels like you should find it and do a one-man show called Tapin', something with the word tape in it.
Tie me up.
Tie me up, let
Yeah.
me out.
Tie me up, let me out.
Sounds like I'm coming out of the closet.
It does.
Now, can I ask about, is this bit true that I saw that when you were 13, you came out of the closet to your father?
Yeah, not 13, but I told my dad that I thought I might be gay.
At how old?
Like 11, 10, 11, something
so
like
this
that.
is pre-puberty. You're
Yeah.
just bored. You're like, I don't know when I'm going to find this out.
I don't think it was because of boredom. I'm bored. Well, must be gay.
So what made you think that, though?
There was another kid at school.
You're like, when they duct tape me, I liked it.
There was another kid at school who was getting bullied, but he was getting bullied because he was gay. I was also getting bullied and was like, maybe I'm gay. Maybe that's why they're bullying me. That was the logic in my brain. It made sense in my head.
Were you a feminine boy?
Never. Fucking masculine as hell, dude. Fucking look at this shit, dude. Come on, I'm jacked. No. Never. Sports, the whole thing.
So you went to your father.
It wasn't even like, Dad, I need to tell you something. It was just like, Dad, am I gay? I think I might be gay. And he's like, why do you think you're gay? And I explained to him this bullying thing. And he's like, well, do you fantasy? Like, my dad is like he's born in Israel, but like a Brooklyn, like, fuck you, how you do, like that kind of. He goes, well, do you fantasize about having sex with men? And I'm like, no. And he goes, you're not gay. And that was it. We never talked about it again until I bring multiple women home. And he was like, okay, well, I guess you're not gay.
So your father was born in Israel.
Yeah.
Mom, American?
Yeah.
Have you been to Israel recently?
Not recently, 2012.
2012. Was this birthright or do you go there often?
Birthright. No, birthright.
Oh, birthright. You
Yeah.
have a good
Fell
time?
in love on birthright.
That's
Wow.
wait. That's where you.
No. Fell different love. I fell in love. Listen, I know you're not a romantic, but
We are.
we're romantic.
Shut the fuck up. Okay. So, Dad, what about anything interesting about having a father who's born in Israel? Any strange things he did as a dad?
Well, I would say the bigger is the grandparents who survived the Holocaust. That is
Grandparents who survived the Holocaust.
Yeah, that was not fun. I mean, talk about post-traumatic stress. I mean, crazy.
They were.
Horrible. My grandmother to this day wakes up screaming. I mean, terrible. Terrible.
Oh my God.
Oh, the worst.
Wakes up screaming. Like if she's staying over or
She doesn't. She's not allowed to stay over, but she would. She like used to scream.
She used to scream.
Yeah.
And you were a little kid and they had to explain it to you?
Yeah, I mean, for years they wouldn't talk to me about it, my grandparents.
Yeah.
And then in like maybe like 9th grade, I took like a world history class and started to learn, maybe earlier than 9th grade, I started to learn about stuff, and they finally told me, you know, all the shit that, and it's a fucking insane, crazy story. I mean, my grandfather escaped from 2 concentration camps, broke his arm jumping off of a moving train, like insane. So he never would talk to me about it. I take this class, I start learning about it. He finally opens up to me. He tells me, I start talking to him about the whole thing. I asked him about his liberation when he left the concentration camp. I'm like, what did you do? What was the first thing that you did? And he's like, well, I hitchhiked my way back to this small little village in Poland that he was from. And he dug up all this money that his family like hid in the ground because they didn't know what would happen when they left. And he dug up all the jewels and all the jewels. Is that a thing? The
Maybe.
coins, whatever.
The pirate chest, the booty.
Pirate chest, the booty. And he went to a brothel and fucked like 6 prostitutes because he was a virgin going into the. And I was like, maybe
That's
we
true.
don't.
If you go to a concentration camp and you're as a virgin, the moment you escape, you're like, well, I'm not waiting any longer for this part of life.
I was like, maybe we don't talk about the Holocaust anymore. Maybe we just
I would
stop.
love
It
if
is
you
so
should
awkward.
write. If you ever write a movie, the idea of like you have him speak at your school, and then he goes into the prostitute part, and the
And
teacher's
then
like,
the
"What are you going to tell a
Russians came, and I went and fucked a hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what is the
How
teacher
did
going to do?
he?
Stop
How did he
a
escape?
They used to transport prisoners
Wait, let me
from
just
camp
do
to
real
camp.
quick. We're going to take a commercial break. After this commercial, we'll find out how he escaped the concentration
It's
camp.
real.
And we're back. All right. Thanks for sticking through that. Now, it is real. That is where the commercial will be. How did he escape?
Hold on. I just need to address that I'm about to launch into this, like my family's tale about my father, who listen, in your life, if you live to 95, both of you, if you live to 95 years old and you talk to somebody who you'll never meet another guy whose parent escaped from a concentration camp and you took a fucking commercial break in the middle of the story?
My wife's grandfather escaped from Auschwitz.
Well, fuck me then. I mean, listen, I have one unique story. One. That's it.
I want to hear yours, though. I mean, it's not my grandfather, though. So you're right on that account.
Okay. They're transporting him from camp to camp on a moving train with a bunch of other prisoners.
Yeah.
He, like, gets out of his restraints and jumps off of a moving train. And then, like, hides in the brush for like weeks or not weeks, like days.
Wow.
He like finally like finds a town, and he's like in this guy's backyard. The guy comes out of his backyard, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he explains, like, "I'm a Jew. I escaped from this concentration camp. I need to eat. I haven't eaten in
Where's
days."
this? What country is he in for this?
He's in Poland.
In Poland.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the guy's like, fine, no problem. He goes and he gets him a sandwich, and he gets him a ham sandwich. And my grandfather, this is the craziest thing about the whole story in my mind, because I'm not, I'm more culturally religious now. The guy gives him the ham sandwich, and my grandfather, he hasn't eaten in days.
Oh my God.
He says, I can't eat it. Can you imagine?
I can't
even
Can you
wrap.
imagine if you're the guy and you're like, oh,
Right.
geez.
This fucking guy. I go out of my way. I'm
brother.
saving this guy's life by giving him a hand sandwich, and he can't fucking. It's like, you ever try and give a homeless guy food, and they're like,
We
what
have
is it? And you're like, it's tapas, and they're like, he's like, I don't
We have
eat
a friend,
that.
Chris Cafaro, once tried to give someone bagel chips, and they're like, yeah, I don't like bagel chips. And he was like, what? Are you serious? He said, really good bagel chips.
But like, it's crazy. Like I can't hold on to God for whatever reason now. How he's able to do it is insane.
Absolutely. I was once at a deli, like a Jewish deli, and I wanted milk with my coffee, and they were like, oh, we can't do that. And I literally, like, not thinking, I was like, yeah, I know, but can I have the milk though with the coffee? Like, I was like, yeah, all the Jew stuff, but can we just do it?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's I can't imagine.
Can't.
So he said no.
He said no.
And then
The guy said, okay, I'll get you another sandwich.
and what did he come back with?
Fucking
What
meatball sub.
What
I don't
if what if he came
know.
back?
Number 57 from Geo's down on
What if-
Baker.
He just keeps saying no. He just keeps being different
No.
pork
He came with
Do you
tuna
have
fish,
any-
and he's
No,
like,
no,
you
no.
know,
Do you
I
have a
just
panini?
Shellfish. No, I can't.
I think he just brought him regular bread.
yeah.
If I had to
I'm like,
guess.
okay, you get a bread sandwich. Now.
Yeah.
You get nothing in between
Yeah.
these two pieces.
Chips and this, when like a little kid can't eat a hamburger, he just has like a chip sandwich with Fritos in
Yeah.
between two pieces of white
Especially
bread.
after all that, if I stub my toe, I'm like, well, God was not looking out for me,
Right?
So
It blows my mind how there are a lot of people, like, I don't know if you've read Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Like, there's a lot of
Long time
people
ago.
who lost their faith in that, and anybody who kept it is it's crazy to me. I can't wrap my brain
the
around
only
it.
other version of it is like to get through something that difficult. You're like, let me hold on to something.
Sure,
baby.
yeah. I mean, listen, you have to. My idea or my stance on religion is it's a very logical thing. Like, people think of it as this mysticism or whatever, this high power thing. It's a logical. There's a reason behind it. So, like, in my brain, 10,000 years ago, whenever you think there were people existed, there was no order.
6,000 years ago, exactly.
Whatever.
With the dinosaurs.
There's no order, right? People are murdering. People are fucking shitting in the street. So you invent.
There are no streets.
There are no streets. They're shitting in whatever was a street. Okay.
Yeah.
So you invent this thing that you can't refute because it doesn't exist, and you say, okay, this thing called God doesn't want you to do all of these bad things. And nobody can refute it, so it creates some sort of order. When you look at all the shit that, like, Jews do, it's very easy to see why they do it.
The
right?
hand washing one is my favorite, where there's something where you take a cup of water and like pour it on one hand. I'm like, oh, you're washing your fucking hands.
Yeah. It's like, okay, yarmulkes, okay? What is the weird coincidence that the place where the yarmulke goes also is the number one place where men go bald? Like, what are the odds that is?
You think
just,
that was it?
Of course, it's that simple. That's it. People were going bald. They said, God wants us to have these things right in this exact spot where I have no hair. Why can't we eat pork? Because people didn't know how to fucking properly store and cure meat. Wow.
Yeah.
So they were eating filthy, disgusting, disease-infested meat. Tova's gonna hate this.
No, Tova's like kosher, but she's not closed off to the idea of maybe eating meat.
Of leaving God.
Of leaving God. I'm pulling. No. But it's just one of these things. Like she kind of wants to maybe try oysters or try ham, but like it's so deeply ingrained in her.
Yeah.
First, we got to make sure there's no allergies, especially with the oysters and whatnot. But like I was like for like bacon, I said bacon's the way to start if we're gonna go ham. I don't like a ham sandwich. I would have turned it down too, frankly.
I love ham.
Well, that means that you and my grandfather. Identical. You just have the same lives.
So your grandfather. So he eventually opens up and he tells you like, I mean, it's got to be a story that could take nights. Like
everything. I mean,
like you sat down like a story time almost, or he just like.
No, I mean, my grandfather did a interview with the Holocaust Museum in like the early 90s, where they tried to the Holocaust Museum just tried to interview as many survivors as they can, so that people were dying off at that point. They were in their like late 70s.
Yeah. And
they just tried to get everybody's stories as much as could. So he did like a 5-hour interview, which is on the internet. I can watch it whenever I want. And that's like, if I ever, sometimes I go back and watch, it's fucking heavy.
Your grandparents passed away?
My grandfather died.
Your grandfather died?
My grandmother is still alive, but really wants to die. Like,
really wants to die.
Hates her life. Has never, like, everything after.
She's always like depressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long were they married, and then when did he die?
He died in 2009.
So were they married pre them
No,
being
after, post.
After.
They met in Israel, yeah.
Was he more cheery than she was? I mean, it sounds like really.
I mean, listen, immigrant parents, like, the trope is like they're not very loving, they're distant. That was there. Like they were distant compared to my other grandparents.
Yeah.
But my grandfather 100% was the more loving one. I mean, my grandmother never assimilated. She never learned how to drive. She never got a job. Like, she cannot provide for herself. One time we went over to her house, my father and I, and we were like, the fridge is broken. The fridge is like foul. Like, everything is spoiled in the fridge. And she's like, how long has it been like that? She's like, 2 weeks. I'm like, what have you been doing for food? And she's like, I haven't really eaten. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the shit that people did to you fucking 70 years ago. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And she doesn't even comprehend in her brain that she needs to like actively take care of her life.
Sounds like it would sound like clinical depression.
Yeah.
And did they get along? I mean, were they happily married?
Yeah. I mean, happily, it's tough to as a kid you can't make that judgment, but they were married until he died.
And she doesn't talk about stuff as much. How many Holocaust survivors are there in the world right now?
I think there's 100,000 left.
100,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna certainly if we
in our lifetime though.
In our lifetime,
they'll be gone. Yeah. I mean, in the next 10 years, like it's not going to be long. They'll all be gone. It's crazy that is a thing that's going to happen. Like, it's not a thing. There are events that just will die off in memory, which is why they tried to do those like huge long interviews to try and document it.
Can I ask, because I saw Luke Mona's over the weekend, and it was very interesting. Like, how do you feel about when a comedian uses the Holocaust in a joke? Do you feel an emotional?
Funny is funny.
Funny is funny.
Funny is funny.
That's
whatever. As long as it's funny, I don't really care.
It's why he said, and I think this is okay. We were talking about some joke that I thought was really funny that involved the Holocaust, and he was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'd like to take him to Auschwitz and show him around, just walk around." And it was very interesting from a comedian. I was like,
"Wait, that's his line."
That's what
he
said. He was saying like that it just rubbed him the wrong way. Something about it rubbed him the wrong way, and he was like, "I would like to take him to Auschwitz and walk around."
Listen,
and I was like, "Oh, okay."
There are like. Funny is funny is not a steadfast.
I know, right?
This is Starbucks. It's crazy.
It is. Now, do you know what camp your grandfather was at?
Yeah, he was at a couple, but he was at Auschwitz. My grandmother was at Bergen. My grandmother was at a death camp. So her literal job for like a year was to carry bodies from like one place of the camp to the other. It's nuts. Jeez. She's like a tiny, frail, like if she weighs 80 pounds, I'd be surprised.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I think the thing, I believe it was at Auschwitz. I think I went to 2, Dachau and Auschwitz.
Uh-huh.
The thing that I think was the ovens. There was one room where there were 2 like oven type things. And that was the thing that stays with me.
Yeah, I mean, like,
forever.
Listen, is any joke about the Holocaust okay? Probably not. But like, more often than not, I don't hear the horrific Holocaust jokes.
I think the case to be made against like joking about things like that is that will we then be able to take it seriously when we need to? Like when we talk about problems with hate crimes and like making laws, like we all have to engage in a way of being like, this is a serious thing, and it causes horrible pain.
Right.
And so when people joke about things too much, I think kind of the fear is if we don't have any space for the sacred or any space for the like, we should be serious about this, will we ever be able to talk about it seriously? And I get that. I would hate for everyone to be a comedian.
Right. I think that, I mean, that's a not a comedy problem. That's a worldwide problem.
Yes.
Anytime that like, look at, I don't want to get too deep into politics, but like anytime that, you have a particular thing that people are like, oh, this is not serious. It's not a joke. Eventually, there are some people. It's not a joke. Sorry. There are some people who believe it as true, and then that gains enough steam that it becomes true. Right? Mm-hmm. QAnon. That like people poo-pooed QAnon. It's a fucking made up blah blah blah. But then look at all these crazy people who are following it. Right. Yeah. So that's the fear about the similarity with the joke structure and that kind of stuff. I have no problem if a Jew or somebody who has an experience with the Holocaust wants to tell a joke about the Holocaust. But if you're telling a joke about the Holocaust for the sake of telling a joke about the Holocaust,
sure,
it's not for me. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it definitely has to be funny if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I think it's just like the same way Adolf Hitler or other events.
Don't say anything bad about Adolf Hitler.
I know. You would date a woman who looked just like him.
The jury's still out.
Where it's just like the Holocaust is the it's just like the pinnacle of what badness is. It's like the worst event in the world. It's this. Hitler is the worst person in the world. That's why I have so many jokes, and I'm trying to like be like, all right, start losing these or come up with something else. Where like Hitler is just what you use because it's like the worst case scenario.
Right.
It just is easy to use comedically. The same way Applebee's is used too many times because it's like the most commercial American commercial place.
Isn't it crazy to me? Isn't it crazy to you that like it's been 80 years since the Holocaust and Hitler is still the worst? Like that. Like there's nobody that's replaced how bad.
But I also think like there to a certain degree, it's like that's part of the American. When I say propaganda, that's not just saying that Hitler was actually good, but it's more like there are other people who have done terrible, terrible things, but like
nothing.
You don't fully associate it with him. Like Hitler takes all the weight, as opposed to the Americans who turned away the Jews, or there's other people who've done, or Christopher Columbus. I mean, I think I read in the book The People's History of the United States, where it was like I think it was 8 million Native Americans that were killed when people came here.
What we did to the Native Americans is horrific.
Yeah. But it's just, I just think like Hitler is narrative wise kind of fits as the perfect pinnacle.
Yeah, because you can pin it on one person. Yeah. Like that's the problem with, I know I'm going all over the place, but like we don't consider ourselves United States is not at war right now, right? Because there's not like countries don't attack countries anymore. Okay, it's just like factions of people within a country that's not technically associated with that country. So it's not easy to pin on something and say, okay, we're in war right now. But we've been in fucking war for 22 years with just different groups of people on fighting the same shit. So it's like if you can pin it on somebody, it's always going to be the worst case scenario. Like that's why, there's nobody else really at the top of the Nazi party that you can pin it on except for him. That's why it's so easy to say it's the worst, and justifiably so.
Now,
did you think there would be this much Holocaust
talk? Did you want
to
defend Hitler anymore?
Defend Hitler anymore? Listen, I've always wanted to see his paintings. I've always been curious about it.
Well, I got news for you. Dottie, come bring him in.
It's like a George Bush scenario where you're like, oh, well, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a Hitler painting and not known that it was a Hitler
Where?
painting.
Like, where would I have seen that?
Places.
That would be a good prank, though. Like, that would be a really good, like, you find out some
It's
politician has a
Hitler's.
painting, and then you find out it was
Yeah.
actually Hitler.
It would be a good prank to play on somebody else, where you're like, "Hey, I got you all these." You know, somebody gets a nice house, and you're like, "I'm gonna get you. Let me get you a housewarming gift." You know, and you just get like a huge, fucking
that's
6
really
feet by
funny.
6 feet picture of Hitler's dog, and they have no idea. And then, like, 2 years later, you're like, "You got a fucking Hitler picture, motherfucker."
I want to briefly. You have a younger brother.
Yes,
How much younger?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
And he's in comedy too.
he's a comedian and a writer. Yeah,
Do you feel like he's a comedian because of you?
we started at the same time, like almost identical, like a week away from each other.
Really? Who went first?
I did. He was in high school, so does that really count? Maybe not.
Or are you guys close?
Like,
Are you guys close? Wait, 5
Emotionally?
years? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
yeah,
5 years.
not growing up,
Not growing up.
because I was like out of the house when his brain checked on.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, like when he was 11, I was like 16, about to go to college. So we didn't really become friends until he graduated, like when he went to college. So I was like 25 and he was like 19.
And he's in LA now.
He's in LA. I mean, he's in New York at the current moment, but yeah, he's in LA.
Do you miss living in the same place with him?
No.
You like this space?
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, we used to write together. Like, we used to be writing partners. We wrote maybe, I don't know, 10 pilots over the years.
That's amazing.
Listen, I'm a prolific writer. It's fine. And, we started to like, just there'd be a lot of, not argument, but there was like, we're too close. Cause like,
Of course.
I'm sure you and I have talked about this with like, you've asked me like, because you're dating somebody who's in comedy, I'm married to somebody who's not in comedy, like how it's like how do you escape? Can you escape? That kind of thing. Like when you're working all day with somebody in comedy and then your best friend is also that person, it's tough to like escape problems. And
Yeah.
like, it just became like a little bit too much.
Sure.
So the distance is great for that. It's the best.
And siblings, tough. I mean, that's why I think they can be good artistic partners, but you can be ruthlessly honest with your siblings. I just think like siblings, like you can talk in a way to your siblings. You know that they're not going to leave you.
yeah.
So sometimes there's just like, it can be,
Yeah. You can say whatever you want.
like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
I would never say that to like if I had a different writing partner.
Yeah,
Ever.
yeah, yeah.
I would never like. There was a point where like, this is so stupid. We were like arguing about a scene and we got into a physical altercation.
Amazing.
Like I was like, I don't know, 25 and he was 20. Like it was nothing, but like we got into like I remember like my neighbor called the doorman.
Oh my God.
And was like, I think there's some sort of like issue, fight, burglary going on. And I'm like, no, just we're trying to argue about whether or not our main character has justified the previous scene. So everything's fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who won the fight?
I did. I'm
I would
so
hope
much
so.
bigger
You're,
than him.
Well, you're older too.
I'm older. I'm more masculine. I've got huge muscles. I've got one testicle. I mean, things are really...
How did you get those hernias, by the way?
I was born with both of them. They just got like progressively worse.
It was hard. I mean, mine was right around the belly button,
Yeah.
and I even got an ultrasound, and they didn't think it was a hernia. They thought it was some lump of fat or whatever. I don't even know what they thought it was. And then one day I'm like, fidgeting with this bump, and then it pops back in, and I'm like, that's a hernia.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, how old was this?
26, 27.
Recently.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are.
I'm 27 and a half.
Yeah.
I was doing a single rep deadlift. This was my CrossFit phase.
God, I
And
hate CrossFit.
I was strong. That me could have beaten me up even with the hernia.
I live next to a CrossFit gym,
I
and
feel
it
like
annoys me so
It's
much.
so embarrassing. It just is like one of those things where
Why?
it just seems like you can't just do it quietly.
Yes.
You have to like be loud and proud and like and like a part of the community, and it's like
So this is his same complaints about the Pride Parade.
Yeah.
You got to be loud and proud and part of the community.
no, it just seems like you can't casually or quietly do it. It's like you're all in, you're on the website, you're on the Instagram, you have to share it. It's just
Every
I
shut up.
promise I was
Shut
half
up.
in. I was
No,
half in.
Yeah.
every CrossFit gym is in like an old fucking
Huge
auto garage
warehouse.
or a fucking dismantled lighthouse. Like there's just never normal gym situations. There's never fluorescent lights. They just have random light fixtures, whatever they left from the previous owner. I live next to this fucking thing. I swear to God, every day they're like, go run outside. Just fucking go run around the building. That's all. Like, it's so stupid. Just fucking, you pay to do it. Be in the gym. These people run around my fucking building with stupid hand wraps on with fucking talc powder running amok all over my goddamn streets. Work out in the gym.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you have IBS.
Yes. I love your pivots.
How is that? Any downsides to that?
I mean, I shit 14 times a day.
Really?
Every day.
Yeah, I mean, like, I took an Imodium before I came here so that I wouldn't have to.
And what is that? It stops you up?
No, it speeds it up. Yeah, it stops me from shitting.
Forgive me for not knowing what.
But what?
For how long?
What did you
Context
think?
clue.
What did you
gonna
think it would
do,
be?
Gianmarco?
Maybe it slows down your
It
metabolism.
disappears the poop
Well, what-
inside you magically.
But like, what does it do chemically?
Slows things down. It's
What
just
am
like
I-
it like
Dr. Fauci? Like,
When are you gonna?
well, Gianmarco, look at my chart here.
I
You'll
would
see
think
the
that if I
chemical
had IBS,
makeup.
I would know a little bit about what the fuck's going on with all the poop.
I mean, it
When
blocks
are you gonna be
up.
able to poop again?
In a couple of hours, probably. I took it at like, let's see, what time is it? It's 5:30. I took it at like 3:30.
So when you have to poop now. Is it always now?
Immediate, and never like not never, but they're very rarely like a solid. They're some version of frozen yogurt. Frozen yogurt on a hot summer day, frozen yogurt in the winter, frozen yogurt, the machine's broken and it's just pure liquid, that kind of stuff.
And you take this pill. I mean, this pill sounds like a lifesaver. It sounds like
No, I take the pill when I know I'm potentially going to be at a place where I can go to the bathroom when I need to at any point.
yeah.
So like on a plane ride or like if I'm doing a show, I don't know when I'm going up on the show, or if I know the bathroom situation is going to be bad, I'll take it.
Are you supposed to not take it too often? Like, is it not
Well, I'm
good?
supposed to alter my diet, and I don't do that. I mean, that's the reason why it's so bad. Like I'm lactose intolerant. I eat cheese, pizza, fucking ice cream all the time.
You're not gonna change your ways.
I mean, not that I'm not going to change, but I like ice cream. I really like ice cream.
Yeah.
I like pizza.
So that's what it is. It's just that it's the cheese. If the cheese went away, you'd be pooping.
I would not. It would be more normal. Yeah.
How many times do you poop a day?
2 usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3. But usually 2.
Yeah. I'm
Sometimes
like
it'll just be a
Very
morning.
rarely 1.
Once in a while, I eat a lot of spice. Like I have Tabasco and everything. So that
yeah. I
like,
put sriracha on everything.
sriracha.
I
If I do
mean,
like real hot sauce.
my wife will
it's a
sometimes
disaster.
go days.
I know.
Without
That's the
pooping.
weird thing when
Days
someone's,
without pooping.
when someone's
Days.
like, I haven't pooped since, and they say any day that's more than 2, or like
Any
that's,
hour, if you go more than
that's
an hour, to me,
crazy.
it's abnormal.
Even when I travel, my body, thank God, my body seems to get like 8-hour plane ride. We're not going to poop. But when I get home, it's like the body just.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing how the body just seems to be like, we're doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times I've shit my pants as an adult is alarming. Just so many times, like full shitting pants all the time.
Do you think about that? Like always having? Would you ever have a white pair of pants or shorts? Or are you like no?
No, but having nothing to do with shit, I would never wear a fucking pair of white pair of pants. I'm a 35-year-old man with a kid. I would look like a fucking idiot. I just got confident enough to wear a white shirt in public. I mean, the white pants is. I need to become a Scientologist or something.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next segment.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. Do you see the email by any chance?
I did, of course.
did?
I read every email.
Don't say of course. I mean, most people they're like, "What are you talking?" about?
I show up early, if not
Yeah, quite early. In fact, pre my shower.
pre
early.
your shower. But I said, what did I say?
You said
Gianmarco,
don't-
don't
five
say what-
days.
you know what?
Don't say what I said.
Joe.
Don't say what I said. Because I'm going to be made to look really bad on this podcast. But
Yeah, it's too late for that. We've been recording the whole time. Slur onwards.
I didn't say a slur.
did not
You
say a
didn't
slur.
say a slur. And you can't tell. We bleeped it out.
Or bleeped it out.
We bleeped it out. You're no longer booking JFL. That's for sure. That phase of your life is over.
What else is new?
So this has got to stop. Do you have a this has got to stop?
I got 100 of them. How many? You want just me to go just one deep one?
We'll start with one. Yeah, one deep one, and then
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. This is the one that really bothers me lately because I'm a father. A lot of my wife's friends are all having kids. This bothers me more than anything. People will name their kid something, and then call them a totally different name. Not even a nickname. Okay. I had a friend, had a daughter named Rebecca. I went and I met her, and I was like, hi, Rebecca, and then she was like, we're calling her Joey. That's not even a nickname.
You're not making this up. This is a real example.
I swear to God.
What was the reasoning?
It's a name that they're like, we just want to call her Joey. I'm like, then fucking call her Joey.
Name her Joey.
There are approved nicknames for Rebecca: Becky, Bex, Reba, Ray. That there's a long list of names that we've approved, and Joey is not one of them. It pisses me off to no extent.
I've never heard a girl called Joey. Maybe that's why.
You never seen Dawson's Creek?
Oh my God,
Oh,
Gianmarco.
No, I haven't seen Dawson's Creek.
Jesus.
Chad Michael Murray, was that Dawson's
No,
Creek?
that's One Tree Hill.
So
This is now the downside with Ahri Findling.
so your daughter's name is what?
Guess it. No, Sophie.
Sophie.
Yeah.
And you call Sophie every time?
Sophila,
Sophila.
Shushy,
Shushy.
sheesh. I just guttural noises. But like, if I were to introduce her to you, I would not say this is my daughter Shishi. I would say this is my daughter Sophie.
Yeah.
Not even like it wouldn't even cross my mind.
And then, because then is the kid going to carry that for the rest of their life?
Right, that's the thing. Is like we all knew those kids in school, and the first day of school, they go through the fucking list, and they're like, Gianmarco here, Ahri here, Russell here, and they're like, Rebecca, and they're like, actually it's Joey. And guess what? Every one of her classmates fucking hates her now.
Because it's a crutch. It's
Yeah.
like this is a fun little anecdote about me.
Yeah.
And they rely on it, and it's not interesting. And
Not
it's
interesting.
not fun.
What's the
Fuck
story?
you, Joey.
My parents named me this, and then they said, no, you're this.
Yeah.
And
Right.
They ruined my life.
And it ruined her fucking life. The other thing, like, did anybody in your like school change their name? Like try to change their name?
I went through trying to change nickname phases for sure.
Nicknames, but never like a real name.
No. Who
think
tried to
so.
change their name?
Oh, there was a kid there was 3 kids getting bullied. Me, the gay kid, and then this other immigrant his name was Yuri, okay? Right off the boat, Russian immigrant.
Uh-huh.
Midway through high school, he goes, guys, I changed my name. I'm going by Jeff now.
Oh, Yuri.
And for the rest of high school,
The kid stopped bullying him from then on out.
he became president of the school union. He was a valedictorian at Harvard. No, they didn't call him Yuri. They didn't call him Jeff. They called him Jeff Yuri for the rest of fucking high school.
Oh.
I see him a couple years like maybe 3-4 years ago. I see him on the streets of New York, and I go, Jeff, how you doing? It's been forever. And he goes, it's Yuri. And I'm like,
He found his way back to
he
it.
went back to it.
It'd be funny if he had changed his name from Yuri
It's
to
Peter.
American Jeff.
We had, Alan Fuchs. He's a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian, and his last name is spelled Fuks.
Yeah.
And like he changed it, and then he changed it back to Fuchs.
Yeah.
And got a nice little NPR podcast.
Yeah,
out
I
of
knew a
it.
guy, his last name was Slutkin, and he changed it to Suskin. Slutkin. Kids are fucking
Yeah.
mercifulous.
I knew an
See that?
actual.
That's called a callback.
In college, I knew an actual Michael Hunt, and that's such a joke name
Yeah.
that you were like what was going on with his parents? Like they just never had heard that. That has to have been around for decades, But his name is Mike Hunt, So, but no, that's what he went by.
Naming kids is surprisingly harder than you would imagine. Like it's easy, like, hindsight's 2020, but like every name that I would pitch my wife, she knew some asshole with that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to name a kid, but you shouldn't do shit like that, And Like they're like people always get mad about like celebrities naming them like fucking North,
Beep, boop, beep. Yep.
and it's like well. Apple never fucked my best friend, so why do you think I'm naming like? That's why people name. That's like the inception for why people named inanimate objects.
I think you should. I don't get why we have to name the kid right out the gate.
I kind of agree.
No,
with
I
you.
agree with you too.
I want to feel it, test out a couple things.
I think mainly it's just like it would be more work for you because you'd have to be like you. I don't know. I think
This is and your friend's like, well,
you
how do I
can't
put
leave-
him in my
I don't
phone?
think you can leave the hospital without a name
yeah,
because you have to fill out the
Wow.
birth certificate
that is
before
a lot
you
of
leave the
pressure
hospital.
to do quickly.
You knew what you knew going.
We had 4 names. We didn't know what we were having, and we only agreed on one boy's name, and we had 4 girls' names.
What was the boy's name?
I'm not saying it.
Okay.
You're not gonna get it out of me.
My grandparents' Holocaust story share this name. What were the girls' names?
Sophie, Hannah,
Ooh,
Lucy,
love it.
and Charlotte. Maybe I can't. No. Yeah, Charlotte. I think it was
And
Charlotte.
you're just gonna wait till you saw and be like,
I mean, honestly, here's the thing. If anybody's married about to have a kid, you don't have to be married to have a kid. But if anybody is about to have a kid and you're a husband and you really care about the name, you got to decide before the delivery, because after you watch your wife work fucking 4 or 5 hours to push this kid out of her vagina. Whatever, she can have whatever she wants. You know what I mean? Like if I couldn't at that point, she was like, "Well, I want to name her Hannah," and I'm like, "Actually, her name's gonna be." It's like I have no jurisdiction anymore.
Yeah.
do you ever whisper to your daughter like, "Your name's Charlotte"?
There are times where I look at her and think that she's not a Sophie, but I don't. But it's just my comic brain. I think
Yeah.
sometimes you have to like be like, "Is this my comedian brain or is this a normal human?"
Yeah.
thing.
Well, let's go into our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. We've had a great, very depressing episode. It got dark.
I don't think it was overly depressing.
It wasn't overly depressing. I mean, I guess maybe you don't understand how significantly terrible the Holocaust was.
No, he's pro Holocaust.
Jesus.
You're pro Hitler.
Pro
I'm
believing in
Holocaust.
it.
I'm
Pro believing in it.
That's the official stance. It
That-
happened.
It happened.
The official stance
Of
of the
the
downside. I
downside.
don't care
what
you think.
I had my doubts, but then I talked to you today
Yeah.
and I learned some things.
My blessing. It's very hot. You can feel it. I can feel it
It's
in my bones.
very hot.
There is a man who is doing snow cones by my corner.
Yep, Puerto Rico.
It's a little bit strange. I get no flavoring. I like the texture of the ice. I like ice. I like how it melts. I like when you get to the second half of it, it's kind of slushy, and I like it melts in my mouth.
Why are
and
you
my mouth is
buying
numb.
ice from a man on the street?
Well, let me furthermore, I say like I'll pay the regular price, and he's like, just pay whatever you want. And I pay the regular price usually. And it reminds me, I went to a summer camp, and here's what I used to get. Now this isn't as weird. I went to a summer camp, like all boys, archery and all this shit. I hated it. But there was a snow cone man there. I'd get snow cone with melted marshmallow on the top of it. So it'd be like plain ice with melted marshmallow on top.
Oh my
and
god!
it was-
I want to unplug the microphone and leave so bad.
And
what are you talking about?
These
This is
and-
not food.
This is my blessing. And I'd eat it with the spoon. It's like a wooden, it's like a...
I know. We know
like
what
an
spoons are.
It's like a special like...
Does it
snow
have
cone
a
spoon.
curve? Like, is it like a?
No, there's no curve. It's like the flat. It's like a popsicle stick type thing that you eat it with.
Okay, we were wrong because we were both.
You were very wrong. And I would love to have the marshmallow, but even without the marshmallow, I love plain snow cones. I even have a snow cone maker.
Are they
It's
called
a lot of work.
Okay, never mind. Sorry. Keep
What do
going.
yeah, snow cones. So that's my blessing that I'm really grateful for. And what's yours, Russell?
Well, it's also related to the heat. So I feel like half the time I come on this, I am thankful for my neighbor Barbara. But I am thankful for my neighbor Barbara. My heat or my air conditioning went out yesterday afternoon,
Brutal.
and it was real hot last night, and we couldn't get anyone to come till today. So our neighbor Barbara, she's like, "I'm going into work anyways. You and my wife and my cat, we all went to work in Barbara's apartment today and be in the AC while ours it's not gonna get fixed till Friday. So we're like scrambling trying to find places to stay between now and Friday. But Barbara's letting us work and be in her apartment during the day.
What's her DJ name? She had a DJ.
BJ the DJ.
BJ the DJ. Thank you, Barbs.
Barbara.
You're
Barbara
the
Jean.
best neighbor in the world.
Yeah.
You like know your neighbor?
Very well. She's sweet. She's lived in New York her whole life. She has crazy stories. And
I love old New York women.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
she's lived all over the city. We're very sad she's moving out at the end of next month.
Oh.
But we've been in this building for 5 years with her. We hang out with her all the time.
Where's she going?
She's moving in with her boyfriend.
Ooh.
Barb and Ken moving in together.
Wow.
But yeah.
Do you think you'll stay
Do
in touch?
they
you're close
understand that
Definitely.
the connection of that, or you don't think so? Barbie
No,
and
they
Ken.
do. We've talked
Okay.
about it. Barbie and Ken.
I don't know.
yeah.
Old
You think you're
people.
the first one to
Guy,
notice?
listen, you
Let's call
fucking
them up.
had marshmallow melted on
Yeah.
top of a snow cone.
Also, you keep calling snow cone when it's just
just
fucking
ice.
shaved ice.
Okay, shaved ice. Sorry, the terminology.
If you put tomato sauce on a slice of bread, is that pizza?
I think it could. You could.
No, it's tomato sandwich. Bad. It's a bad.
The tomato sandwich is just sauce.
I-
You think that was the second sandwich they offered your grandfather? They said, "Fine, it's just tomato on a piece of bread."
Wow. Bleep that out.
Bleep it. Bleep the whole sentence.
Yeah.
Ahri Findling, do you have something
Well,
you're grateful
AC was going to be mine, but I'll pick I have a backup. Okay.
for? Great.
My teeth. You take for granted your teeth. Okay. I had to get a tooth removed, and it's the fucking worst. It was the worst experience. The healthcare, fucking dental healthcare, it sucks. And literally, I haven't enjoyed a meal in 3 weeks. I'm like terrified to eat.
What was wrong with the tooth?
It was dying. You know, it would just it wasn't. They tried to do multiple crowns. They were like, we can do a root canal, but it might not work. I'm like, just fucking yank it out.
Yeah.
And now I just have a fucking gaping hole in
Can
my
we
mouth.
see it?
Sure. It kind of looks like a vagina. What I'm told.
All right.
I've never seen a vagina, but
Okay, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what your wife's pussy looks like, but that.
what I would say is like maybe like when you have like a guest on, and they have like a wife, is like, and you're like you want to reference the guest's wife's vagina, which is fine, but like if you want to,
You have to say vagina. Yeah.
right.
Pussy.
You
feels
don't. You can't. You
so
definitely can't say pussy for sure.
aggressive.
Because I don't think you've met her, which is
Yeah.
fine. But like,
You can't say someone else's their wife's pussy.
yeah, I don't think you can say that. But like, we're friends, so like, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm not gonna judge
I would
you.
not want you to say my wife's pussy.
Yeah,
You know my wife.
and he's your co-host.
Yeah.
We're like barely friends.
Yeah. You should have said wife's anatomy
Yeah.
or genitals.
Yeah.
So you're thankful that your teeth have otherwise been.
Yeah, I mean,
good?
you take like when you're a kid, like I have to brush my daughter's teeth right now, which is like ridiculous. Like it's not brushing; I'm just like feeding her fucking toothpaste.
Yeah.
But like you don't do good dental hygiene as a kid. You know, you're just
feeding
like
her toothpaste. I love that.
Yeah.
You're just giving her, putting
she,
it.
like she doesn't have the like she can't do it, but even if, like she can't pay attention for 2 minutes enough for me to brush her fucking teeth. So I just hand her the toothbrush and she just eats it. She not only does she eat the toothbrush, she bites the bristles off the fucking toothbrush. So like when your whole childhood, you're just vaguely brushing your teeth. You don't really care. Sometimes you go to bed multiple days, you don't brush your teeth. You get older and they're just like, you have perfectly white teeth. You have great teeth.
I'm just lucky though. It's so much genetics. Like there's part of it, like the brushing must only count for like 20% because I brush. If I'm being honest, this is kind of gross. I'm
talked
a
about
night
this before.
brusher. I'm just a night brusher.
You don't brush in the morning?
Maybe once every. I probably brush 1.3 times a day average.
How do you get the marshmallow covered
I floss.
ice off of your teeth without brushing?
I floss every day, but like I've only had like little minor cavities, and I'm like, you know what?
It
I just
has
got
to be
good
genetics.
fucking
Yeah.
teeth.
Well, I don't think it's just. I honestly think it's just the luck of the draw. You get whatever you're dealt.
Well, I remember I had a struggle. I had to get the electronic one where they said you're brushing too hard, and there was part of me like, I'm like, no. I can do it too hard now.
Was this during the
Just fuck
CrossFit
all of
days?
this. During the CrossFit days, I'm just jamming it in there. Well, I hope are you going to get a new tooth put in?
I don't know. You know how much? What do you think a new tooth costs?
Probably like between $2,000 and $3,000.
$1,500.
$4,000 for one tooth.
One tooth.
So I'm like, do I have to get it? And he's like, you don't have to get it, but you're going to have a hole in your mouth. If there's one tooth to lose and not replace, it's these two bottom back molars.
Yeah.
But what they are scared of is like the top tooth that like would have met that one. If there's nothing to meet it, it could slowly start to like slide down, like just become like longer than all the other teeth, like your toenails or your toe.
Get the fuck away from my feet.
Yeah. But I don't think at this point I'm going to get it. Fucking $4,000. It's like how much my car cost.
No, that's crazy.
Wait till the next writing job.
I mean, if that, I need to wait until I'm like second, third season WGA writing job.
Thank you for joining us. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you follow me on TikTok.
Very funny TikTok. You make great videos.
They call me Ahri. Ahri spelled AHRI. And then
this is coming out July 13th.
July 13th. Okay. July 13th. I'm going to be July 23rd. I'm going to be in Flemington, New Jersey. Doing a set, long set there. And then August 14th, I'm going to be at Soul Joel's Comedy Dome for
cool.
2 shows.
That should be great.
August 14th with Bonnie McFarlane.
Ooh. Great comedian. Russ, anything you want to plug? This will be after Uncle Function.
The next Uncle Function then. Uncle Function Friday, August 13th at Asylum NYC, 7:30 p.m.
And I'm headed to L.A. this Friday when it comes out. L.A., so if you're in L.A., look at my Instagram for some shows. And July 27th, that's a Tuesday, I'll be headlining Tiny Cupboard, 9 p.m. show, doing an hour. So come on down. It's always tough to get in New York when you're doing like a big show in New York. And it's like, oh, make sure you come to this one or see me 10 other times tomorrow.
I know. I'm not going to promote these other shows that I really, really want to promote. I'm going to promote this other show that I don't want to promote because I'm the one doing the long set.
Someone gave me, they were like, you didn't share the show on your Insta story. And I was just like, no one's coming to anything in New York that I'm
guys,
posting.
I watched Gianmarco's Insta story, and now I want to come to every show this week. It's like no one has ever. No offense, no one's ever said that.
Some people write me sometimes, and they're like, "Hey, man, when's your next show?" You never. They like intimate that like I never post about upcoming shows, and I'm like, "What
all you
are
post.
you talking
It's
about?"
Jeff Goldblum impressions and fucking comedy promotion. That's it. That's your whole Instagram.
I haven't done Jeff Goldblum impressions.
I'm
since
joking.
The vice
I'm a
presidential
comedian.
debates, but like people like they bring me up on stage. They're like, "This guy's just a Jeff Goldblum," and I'm like, "I can never do this again."
No,
I'm already staying by it.
because people just want to fucking put you in a corner.
Mike Racine wrote me today. He said I should do John Mulaney doing Bad Boys for Life. Who's Martin Lawrence? He said you should do John Mulaney doing Martin Lawrence bits.
John Mulaney doing Martin Lawrence bits.
Like something like.
I don't know Martin
Girls,
Lawrence
you need to wash your ass. Wash your ass, ladies. That's a Martin Lawrence bit. Wash your ass.
To me, honestly, here's the thing. I like Martin Lawrence. Most people aren't going to know Martin Lawrence stand up. That's the
true.
thing that you're going to run into.
Do you know the SNL thing with Martin Lawrence? Do you know the SNL thing?
No.
He went off script for this monologue. Like he was banned from SNL because he was like at the peak of his fame, and he was doing his monologue, and he started going a bit about like ladies need to wash their asses, and like you can't even watch it now. Like NBC took it down. They're like, we can't even air this. But he got in big trouble. That's pretty badass to piss off Lorne Michaels enough to get banned.
Listen, I've done it. It's a hard thing to do, but it's
well, that was the downside. Again, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. And like Ahri's tooth, we will one day all be removed from this sad mortal coil. This is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside.